Okay, so let's look at it this way. We look at start cage from any string. If we start an E shape from the second string, it's going to warp into a D box. That's all that's saying. So here's our E shape right here, 7 root 2, but I'm going to start it from the third string. Okay, so we're going to start that E shape here. And indeed, it did warp into a D shape. So that's how that little circle goes. And this one, now this is a cage circle, and that means that the string shapes, we probably can see them here, C, G, D, A, E, that's it. That's all we're looking at here, folks, is 5 string shapes. And that's all you have to learn. It's that easy. The C string shapes 3, 4, 5, the G string shapes 6, 7 root, the D string shapes 2, 3, 4, the A string shapes 5, 6, and these are accidentals. They're empty frets. You're not going to play those frets. And then the E again up there, but that should have the 7 over here, and that's how they stack up. So this is an old pattern stack. I thought I'd put it there because it was colorful. I'll have to edit that later, but in between these string shaped fifths, where we have the C goes to the G, goes to the E, goes to the C. You see the C goes to the G, goes to the D. Watch this. C goes to G, goes to D, goes to A, goes to E. You see it's like a star. You should just start here and go up. Skip every other one. So it's C to G, G to D, D to A to E, and E to C. You see that? So, but in cage, that's how caged goes. If you skip every other letter in cage, you're going in fifths when you're going clockwise. You're going in fourths or string shape fourths, going counterclockwise, because the string shape fourth of C is the E shape, and the string shape fifth of E is the C shape. Okay, that's how that works. It's just how the string shape circle works. So let's get to the gist of what we were talking about yesterday and how we use these string shapes. Remember this circle right here. Before we even get there, we have to also cover this, and that is we have a longer pattern here. So here's our regular string shapes patterns, right? Except the A we're going to look at as part of a longer pattern, so it's also a shorter pattern. Nobody's taking that pattern away. I want to show you the shorter pattern on the other side. I have it listed right here. So to keep things simple, here's the A string shape. So this is how the string shapes stack up. One on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other. So there's our 7 from the 7 root 2, and this is how things go around the circle. So you can see how we get in trouble trying to talk about today's subject with an older chart, older concepts. It is important to know how to play a scale from a different string and then hit the tuning warp and realize that the shape of that scale is going to go into a particular new shape having to do with what string you started on. And that's a useful tool, I found out. So we're going to look at our string shapes again, and these are the short patterns, and the long patterns are here, and they just help us get away from that fret knot. Okay, getting a little chilly in here, but that's okay. You know, it's November 11th, so it should be getting cooler. Around where I'm from, around here, they don't observe Veterans Day, which is kind of an insult, but that's the way they are down here. They have what's called White Squirrel Festival. They do have Veterans Administration here, and they also have a museum downtown. And they were in formation earlier this morning, I'm sure, but this is like the third Veterans Day in a row that it rained. So I was kind of, you know, not into it, but I've never done it. I've actually never assembled with them on Veterans Day. I should really do that because I am a veteran. I have an honorable discharge. I served for 2 years. Um, but my Army career, nevertheless, never got off the ground. So look at it that literally, I wanted to fly, didn't get into the right program I wanted, so I, did what I could for them. And, after 2 years, I decided that they decided, and I decided that I was better off separating. After that, I did some work with the Navy. After that, in Florida, helping them program computers to test stuff. Radio, same thing. It was a short career, but an interesting one. And all along I always liked music, so I always brought in a musical instrument with me wherever I went. And if I had money, I'd go out to Sam Goody's or wherever it was, Sam Ash or Mars Music or something like that, and buy myself a synthesizer so I could play. Yeah. So anyway, major diatonic here. We got the long pattern stack gets us away from the fret nuts, so the 5, 6, 7 would be like 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we go into the S4 E 7 root 2. But now we got to warp up that C for 3, 4, 5 up here, and then we're going to only get to 6, 7 root before we run out of strings. And the way that the circle goes for that is we've got the 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 part happens between these two A's, because we have an A here 5, 6 and an A here 5, 6, so that we can do a substitution there. So it's just, and then it's right back to E, C, G, D. That's our S4E right there, E, C, G, D. E, C, G, D. And then we go into another set of 3 whole notes each, with a half step in between. When you go that many frets and go up to another string, you're going a half step. One more step, you'd be getting the same note. See how 7, you want another half step over here to R, you'd have the same note. So that's how that works. But still, we haven't gotten to the crux of today's lesson, and that's why I'm moving along, and it seems like I might be abandoning some topics that we could, just immerse ourselves in. So I've restructured these. These are string shapes deliberately shown as individuals. What does that mean? Well, what does that mean? Don't ask Levine. That's a joke, son. What it means is that I want you to learn these as individuals, so that at any time, if you had to know what string shape it was, that you could say the C is 3, 4, 5, the G is 6, 7 root, without seeing them next to each other in a pattern stack and counting up like that, to be able to do that. So you can start anywhere on the fretboard, say with an A shape here. I don't know what key this is, but this is 5, 6 of whatever we're playing. So right here, if this is F, G, okay, that would be the key of B flat, because B flat, okay, the 5th and the 6th of B flat is F and G. So you would know that the A string shape in the word caged is going to go to a G, because it's C-A-G-E-D. So cage goes to the right, to my right, so it'll be 6, 7 root, because that's the G string shape, 6, 7 root. That's why we want to know them